Hello. Welcome, everybody, to After the Credits episode. Is it 33? Is it 73? I feel like maybe I forgot to change the title. I feel like maybe it's 70. It's 74. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Uh-oh. I'm not used to like the solo layout on these episodes. Welcome, everybody, for the chill part of the After the Credits stream. Taz will be here shortly, but since this is going to be a shorter episode today, I thought we would get it started. I thought we'd get chill axed a couple minutes. He'll be here 5 to 7 minutes from what I've heard. So we're going to spend this time doing a little bit of like a Q&A, questions, answers. We can start talking about those trailers a little bit as well. I know Taz is going to want to be talking about those. Keyblade in the house. Hello, my friend. Do I have a dog? I do have a dog. I have a dog named Callie. She's from what we know, an American Pit Bull. Very good dog. About 7 years old at this point. Sweet old babies. Anything people tell you about pit bulls are drastically wrong and weird, and if they're anti-pit bulls, then I'm anti them, if you will. But how's everyone doing today? It has been a week. It has been a week and a half. It has been the craziest week in terms of pop culture. It feels like we're about to head into like the new. Turn some music on here really quickly. We've stepped into this new era of the summer. Feels like summer blockbuster season is here. Obviously, we had Thunderbolts 2 weeks ago. We had a Superman trailer. We had am I blanking? A Ironheart trailer this week. We had a kind of a Spider-Man-ish kind of trailer this week as well. Like, there's been a lot of these kind of announcements floating around. Things have been happening on that side of things. Ethan, how's it going? How's it going, Ethan? Hope you're doing well. You're doing well as well. Send over what you guys want to talk about next couple minutes while we all wait for Taz. What are some conversations that we want to have while we're waiting, while we're stalling a little bit to talk about Last of Us and some of our topics for today's shorter stream, and it will be a shorter stream today as well, because I don't want to go over Chainsaw's Council too long, because we do know that is happening. Keyblade says the Superman trailer was goated. It was goated. What did everyone think of that Superman trailer? Uh-oh. Who's it is? Who's it going to be? Taz is
Hello
here.
there.
Hello there.
How's it going?
Taz.
How's it going? How's it going?
I was rambling. I was like, all right, I'll stall. Since it's a shorter episode, I was like, I'll get the ball rolling. I'll get it started. But we didn't get too far.
Thank you. Yeah.
How are you, my friend? Welcome.
I'm doing well. I am doing well. Long day as always, but I'm happy to be here.
I love that shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just for the trailer.
Like
this is an old Legion of Collectors shirt.
Very nice.
So yeah, they had some really good shirts back in the day. So I kind of miss those old Funko boxes.
Hello, welcome to your new name. It's great to see you. We're talking about the Superman trailer a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
And what a crazy week it's been for like trailers and stuff like that. Did you see the Superman trailer?
A lot. Yes, I did see it. I loved it. I really did. I think part of the reason why I was a little bit late is I was yapping to my dad about it when I got home from work. I loved it. I think really the standout point for me was when, right at the beginning when Clark and Lois were sitting down to do the interview, and just that switch up where it's like, all right, game time, and then he was like, hello, Miss Lane. Like, he just like changed into his Superman voice, and like that was perfect. And again, and it just kind of like slowly fading from Superman to more Clark as he was getting a little bit more emotional, a little bit more heated throughout the interview. I think it definitely gave us quite a bit story wise. Like I know early on I said I wanted to avoid trailers and everything else after that initial teaser, but I think it gave just enough without giving away too much. And now, really, cut it off. No more trailers, no more teasers. I don't want to know anything else about this movie until July.
Yeah, this is probably my first trailer I'll watch willingly that I'll like watch on my own time. Like I might have to watch it on other streams and stuff like that. But like I was like, and like my big thing out of the out of the trailer was like they showed a lot here. Also,
they did
aspects of this movie I don't know yet. Like there's huge plot points I feel like are still very hidden. But but you're right. It does seem like that opening is probably the catalyst of the movie a little bit. Like we've been wondering like what like why is Superman arrested? Why is everyone so anti-Superman? It's like, oh, he got in the middle of a war. Okay, that's going to be interesting.
And I would assume that's honestly going to probably be how the movie starts. Like I wouldn't be surprised if in James Gunn fashion that they throw us right into the action with a nice pop culture-y song, which I'm sure people will definitely be like, all right, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy style Superman, which I do still hope that it has its own tone and its own feel, and it doesn't just feel like Guardians or Peacemaker even. And I think, you know, or Suicide Squad, I think those all very much so sit within the same tonal space. But from these trailers, it does seem like they're doing something different with Superman, and I think it's more so a return to form. I feel like I really very much so see aspects of all versions of Superman almost combined into one, and taking the best parts of all the stories that we've come to know and love throughout the last, you know, however long. Like there's aspects of Christopher Reeve's Superman in there. Yes, there's aspects of the Zack Snyder Superman in there. Yes, there are aspects of even like Smallville and Superman and Lois, I feel like, in there as well. And I think it really does a great job with blending all of those different facets into a brand new take on the Superman character. With even, again, too, is thinking about the larger scale of the movie, a lot of Justice League animated, you know, tone or undertones and vibes and everything with, you know, Maxwell Lord's version of the Justice League and everything like that.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that, like that season 2 Superman and Lois scene that I love a lot.
Yeah.
With those themes of like, I'm just not like the American Superman. I'm Superman for everybody.
Right.
Like, there's that fantastic scene in season 2 where the like general of that season, Anderson, right? He's like, I'm trying to get you on like my team. I'm trying to get you over here, blah blah blah. He's like,
I don't work for anybody.
Join my allegiance. It's like, I can't give you my allegiance because I gave that to the world a long time ago. And I got those vibes in this trailer. It's like, okay, this is really good. Like I like that we haven't just changed his motto for the America stuff. Just like, no, I'm the Superman of the entire world. I'm not an allegiance to anybody. Yeah.
I mean, as classic as the, you know, truth, justice, in the American way saying is, Superman has certainly evolved past just being an American superhero. He is literally a superhero for the world. He's he's a galactic hero at times as well. So confining him just to America, the place he was, you know, just so happened to crash land on. And I think that's why also I do really like a lot of those other, you know, Elseworld Superman stories like, you know, Red Sun and everything like that, because how different could things have been if he wound up somewhere else other than Smallville?
Agreed.
So
let me read through some comments because we got the chat popping today. Several people are talking about Lois Lane. Hello, chat. Hello there. A lot of people talk about Lois Lane, Rachel.
Yeah, she's great.
Our first like actual dialogue for Rachel, because I don't think in any of the trailers like she didn't speak at all.
Yeah,
so it was cool to see like not only Rachel here, but also like her dynamic with Clark instantly. And to me, that is like all my favorite Superman adaptations have a good dynamic between Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Like every single one of them.
You have to have that for it to work. And I think in a lot of ways, I feel like that was one of the lacking parts of the most recent Superman incarnation. Like I never really felt that connection between the two of them like you do here, even in just the trailers, or Superman and Lois, or from what I've seen of Smallville, very much so as well. Like I think again that is just as important as the other dynamic too, which is the Superman versus Lex Luthor dynamic too, which I think Nicholas Hoult has very much so surprised me as far as like how great of a Lex he is. Like
he's not a man, he's an it. Like it's like,
yeah,
oh,
like I was like, yeah, dude, like he is going all in on it. And I really think too, like that was one of those castings where I was like, oh, I'm not really sure about that, right? When he was first cast as Lex, I was like, okay,
yeah.
I kind of see him as Beast. You know, dude's got a British accent. You know, I'm like, okay, is this guy really Lex? But just like seeing him march into the fortress, seeing again how he interacts and talks about Superman, how he, you know, props Superman up as this massive threat to the world, threat to public safety. And again, I think that is, like it kind of was exemplified there in that trailer, this is going to be a large part of the film, is kind of Superman trying to win back the trust of the world, win back the trust of the people.
Yeah.
Where it definitely does seem like, you know, certain people or certain groups will see what he stands for, see what he's about, but Lex is definitely going to play a large role in influencing that public opinion and being like, hey, like, you know, he's interfering in these, you know, foreign conflicts. Should he really be doing this? Is he causing more harm than good? And, you know, the traditional kind of, you know, Superman, you know, pros and cons kind of thing is like, do we really need this, you know, alien creature protecting us when I, Lex Luthor, have all the technology in the world to protect everybody? Like, you know.
No, it's fun. Like I love that shot of Nicholas Holt's Lex when like he's seeing what's happening to him out on the street and he's grinning. He's like, "Oh yes, all part of my plan. This is awesome."
Yes.
And yeah, no,
everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
No, it's going to be incredible. I'm very excited. This trailer did it for me.
Me too.
Raven in the chat. Hello, Raven. I love how much James Gunn elevates the animal characters. Crypto is such a joyous addition to the film.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's been a lot of conversation this week. Is like, are they going too far with Crypto? Are they marketing him too much? And is it a gimmick? Sure. Are they doing it a lot? Sure. But I've enjoyed all of it. Like I'm kind of there for my boy Crypto. Like there's that shot where he like hits the like government, he flies and hits government agent back. I was like, let's go. He's fighting. He's in the fight. So cool. It's cool. It's so cool to see.
Yeah, Crypto is going to be awesome. I think too is they're using him very, very intelligently in the marketing. I think showing a lot of Crypto helps hide a lot of the plot of the movie. I feel like people haven't really, you know, brought up that aspect of it. It's like, oh, why is Crypto in all this marketing, that, and the other? I feel like that Crypto story, while yes, it's going to be kind of like the emotional heartbeat of the movie, it's not the big plot. It's not the, you know, Superman versus Lex plot. It's not the Daily Planet plot. It's not, you know, Clark's, you know, inner struggle of, you know, should I be this hero for the world? This is just kind of the, you know, fun aspect of the movie that they're marketing that, again, is not going to be too serious, I feel like. And it's going to draw a lot of people in that wouldn't have otherwise seen the movie. It's like you're going to get the crowd that likes to go see a movie just because there's a cute dog in it, right? But without spoiling a ton. So in my mind, I'm happy with that marketing. I'm only slightly worried that maybe we've seen all the best of Crypto in the trailers, because I don't know how much more he's going to be in the movie or how much more he can really, you know, assist in the big fight. Like I feel like, you know, small little fights, that sort of thing, he's kind of in the background. But again, not necessarily a massive part of the, you know, main A plots.
Agreed. I'm curious how much he actually has a role, and you know, like they've teased that like Superman and Crypto will have a little bit of like a beef in this movie. Like there's there's a like, not beef. Beef isn't the right word, but like there's a push and pull. There's like an annoyance there for Clark as like this thing he has to take care of, and it's kind of just in his life and stuff
it's
like
that.
Like
annoying space dog that won't listen to him.
Exactly. So people were talking about Lex Luthor maybe becoming president in the DCU. I don't think he's currently president.
No,
I would love that to be a story we're building towards. I think that would be fantastic. Did
you see / hear when they mentioned something about the president and then showed Lex on screen? Yeah. If that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Like building
I would love to see that.
I would love
to see that.
Our like almost our big bad of the like this chapter, like the huge
Yes,
like
and
chapter.
imagine we get a Legion of Doom. Imagine we get President Lex, who is assembling a Legion of Doom, and they actually fully do it. I know that's what they were setting up in the original DCEU. So definitely you'll get some of that pushback there, but I would love to see it. We've never actually seen that on screen. Like, imagine we see, as we're seeing the formation of the Justice League throughout a lot of these early films, that we're also seeing
so hype.
the formation of a Injustice League or a Legion of Doom, something like that. And they can just use the same line again. Wouldn't it be fun if we had a league of our own?
Very fun. Yeah, I mean, speaking of the DCU, just to kind of keep this ball rolling, because I know we don't have as much time today, Peacemaker also had a trailer this week.
Yes.
And I'll probably talk about all this stuff again on Pipeline tomorrow, but like, you're really excited
some conflicting opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, you really enjoyed the trailer, right?
I did. I really enjoyed the first season too. Like, I have some fond memories of watching that first season. I do see where people dislike it, and you'll dislike it if you don't necessarily like that kind of James Gunn humor, like that kind of edgy, raunchy kind of, like, borderline, like, I don't even know, like, childish humor, but with an adult, like, childish humor with an adult spin, if that makes sense, right?
100%.
Is that is the kind of comedy in that show. And if you don't enjoy that, if you don't enjoy John Cena just playing John Cena, like, you're not going to like Peacemaker. But I think underneath all of that, there is still a really good story. I think some aspects of that first season didn't necessarily work a ton. I know there's a lot of question around how will they do that carryover into this new universe. I think the trailer maybe told us a little bit about that. I know the theory right now is that we have the DCEU Peacemaker versus the DCU Peacemaker, and that either our DCEU Peacemaker that we followed is going to take his place or vice versa. And I'm not necessarily sure what I think about that. But it'll be interesting to see. What is the time frame release date for this? This comes out at the end of the summer, right?
August. Yeah.
Okay, so this is coming out post Superman, but in that trailer we do still have the Maxwell Lord League interviewing Peacemaker, so it seems like Peacemaker is set before Superman, even though it comes out afterwards, if that is correct, or a correct assumption there, which I find very interesting. And I wonder how Peacemaker is going to shift the view of Superman, or if they're going to feel very disconnected, but I wouldn't think so, just because, again, it's James Gunn doing both of them. If it was somebody completely different doing both projects, then we might have an issue there continuity-wise. But I think these are going to both be very complementary pieces of media for each other. And I think to get the full grasp of the story for either one, you're going to need both, which in some ways can be an issue. We might run into that same issue that we did with the, Disney Plus MCU required reading sort of thing as well.
Agreed. Yeah, I really liked season 1. I thought season 1 was a blast. Maybe I am getting a little tired of that humor, though, just a little bit, at least at the start of everything. Like, maybe I'm craving something a little bit different from James Gunn, and I'm loving the vibe of Superman. I'm loving all that. So something about this trailer, and maybe the jokes are good in here, but because of it's because it's in a trailer, they have to like condense it down, and you can't have those jokes flow as well. To me, a lot of that is just I don't know, like some of it didn't work for me, and like some of it's like, okay, more James Gunn.
It's more the same. It's more the same. Like, if you didn't like the first season, it doesn't seem like the second season is going to be revolutionary and bring you into it. Very similar to, again, I have to throw strays at Andor, obviously. If you didn't like the first season of Andor, you're not going to like the second season. Very much so in that same vein. But I'm excited to see more of these characters. I think more Vigilante is going to be great as well. I do really like that other Peacemaker suit too that we got to look at.
That's fun.
I think that's going to be great, and I'm very intrigued by all the Rick Flag Sr. stuff. He is going to be the one. He's the constant. Like, he was in Creature Commandos. He's in Peacemaker. He's in Superman, and I feel like he's gonna have a very big role, at least in this first chapter.
Yeah.
And did I hear that correctly in the Superman trailer? Is he like the director of the Department of Defense or something like that?
Yeah.
So is he DoD director, or is this still Argus related, or completely separate? Yeah.
Well, that's
after Creature Commandos. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because, like, I don't know, because like that Waller show was supposed to be about like her trial.
Right, and it was supposed to be in between Peacemaker season 1 and season 2, but now it's going to be post season, or at least it's going to come out post season 2,
if at all.
If at all,
like,
right?
If it ever comes out, because like my theory was like, oh, maybe she gets fired after the events of Waller, maybe even after events of Peacemaker. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets upgraded. Like maybe he gets her spot in the governmental era of everything. So that will be interesting to explore. I'm excited about that. I'm excited. I'm very curious about like the Peacemaker v Peacemaker, because that's something we've talked about that in great detail. I've talked about it on here many times, and how I've said like, as like a wild theory, as something I didn't think that they would address the like DCEU. Like I joked, maybe
it'll be like a jokey kind of.
But no, it seems like it's legit.
It's like a legit plot point, and to have Peacemaker tackle the multiverse
project number 3 is crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, it has the potential to be really good, or it could be absolutely ridiculous as far as like it's just gonna make your brain hurt.
I kind of do like it though, because like we've talked about my issues with Peacemaker should even be a thing. It's gonna be very confusing on rewatch, but I do like for the audience that is watching that for the first time to get caught up, who thinks this is all canon to this universe, they can be like, oh, it is canon technically, and you're literally holding their hand as they are switching universes. Like we are following his POV. I don't know. It seems like maybe our Peacemaker is going to kill their Peacemaker and take that Peacemaker spot in this. Perhaps.
But then
is that the season plotline? Is him trying to fit in with this new team?
I don't necessarily know why though he would need to swap universes, right? So it's not necessarily. I don't think it's because Rick Flag Sr. is after him, because if Creature Commandos is set in the new DCU, and we've still got that plot point of, Rick Flag is dead, and then that's carrying over into Peacemaker. Rick Flag still seemingly got that motivation in Superman. I don't necessarily know why we have to do the multiversal swap or multiversal merge. Right, exactly. Like, why? Like, again, they could just so very easily explain it away too. I think the best way to put it is like just do an offhand aside, like, oh yeah, the Flash messed up the timeline again, or something like that. So that's why certain things are different. And then you can again still poke fun at it, like, Peacemaker can be like, yeah, well, I'll go talk to Henry Cavill or something like that, and it's like, he's not Superman anymore, dude. Or just like something dumb like that, right? Like just some little thing to just say, okay, we're in a new universe. Certain things are canon, certain things are not. But it just, I feel like they're going to be playing fast and loose with this too. Is like, it's only whatever is convenient to carry over is going to carry over, and what is tough for them to write around, they're not going to carry it over. Sure. And that is going to be, it's going to be very telling as far as how well we can kickstart this universe from these first few projects, which is why I think in a lot of ways, again, I keep mentioning this, but I think Supergirl is going to be a very good tell, because it doesn't have to be related to any of this. That would be the first real project that's unrelated to anything past, unless for some reason Rick Flag shows up again.
First project not directed by James Gunn as well.
Yes, as well.
Going to be very telling. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also too that the Lantern show is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out as well, tonally, and how it fits into the universe, that sort of thing.
Hi Levi, how's it going? Hello. Yeah, I'm curious. I have some concerns. I bet it'll be good, but like there's some things I was like, didn't quite work for me, but I'm curious about it all nonetheless.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We had an Ironheart trailer today as
Yes.
well. Now, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts because you didn't watch Wakanda Forever.
I did not. No. So I don't know anything about this character other than what I've seen in trailers and what I've heard.
Gotcha.
Also, because I'm gonna get the big question out of the way first. Is the villain Mephisto? Like, I've heard rumors, and this guy, like, it looked like he might have had, like, again, Lucifer style, like, angel wings cut off his back or something like that. And I saw a bunch of people just being like, Mephisto. Like, I don't know if it's a joke or if it's legitimate, because I've heard
He's not
rumors.
Mephisto. He's the
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But it's rumored Mephisto is in this
Yeah.
project. He's involved somehow,
Which I like. How does Mephisto fit into Ironheart of all
well,
all
it's a
shows?
very like supernatural show from what we hear. Like
Which is weird because the trailer looks so like grounded and like techie and that sort of thing.
Well, that's kind of like the whole thing. Like that's been the big thing that's got me very excited. It's a show about science versus magic. Like that's kind of the premise of the show. It's someone who's very science based, approaching someone who's very magical and mystical and stuff like that. And I'm very curious to see how those two worlds blend. Like I feel like the MCU hasn't really like crossed genres like that before. I feel like that's not typically something that they do a lot. So I'm curious to see where that goes. But
and also, was that Alden Ehrenreich at the end, Han Solo? At the end, or towards the end of the trailer, I feel like the guy that she was talking to right at the end, or pretty close to the end. I feel like that was Han Solo, but might not have been. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Lance, I will answer this question. I didn't want to watch the movie because obviously Chadwick Boseman was not in it, and I don't know. It didn't appeal to me, a Black Panther movie without him. Obviously, you know, you have to continue the story in some way, but I don't know. It just didn't appeal to me. The trailers didn't look great, I guess, is the best way to put it. And because again, I'm not a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of the first one either, which is a hot take. I prefer the portrayal of Black Panther in Civil War to anything we got with him post Civil War. I think that was probably my favorite version of the character in the MCU.
I might definitely agree.
Yeah, and just like, I don't know, like I didn't connect with it as much as everybody else did, and I think maybe it's just my brain trying to be a little bit different. But it just, again, it didn't necessarily appeal to me. I just didn't fall into that, like, oh, I love it, it's the best kind of, you know, MCU movie or whatever. Like, I understand the significance of it.
It's good. Yeah.
But it just, you know, again, I'll probably end up watching it, you know, at some point when I'm looking for a movie to go through, or to like really, again, make sure I, you know, cover all my bases before this show comes out. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't appeal to me, which is weird to say, but like I've gotten into that point where if it doesn't immediately grab me, I'm not going to just watch it because it has the MCU slapped on it.
See, that's so interesting though, because I thought that I think that's my favorite MCU trailer of all time. Like I adore that Wakanda Forever trailer. I think it's incredible, but also I can understand it's not like a very like happy, like
I was gonna say too, it's not a feel good movie. Like I know I'm gonna like feel bad after watching it.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Like I'm trying to, like, I don't want to spoil the movie. I adore the movie. I prefer it over the original Black Panther movie. I think it's one of Marvel's best, in my opinion. Like I think it's incredible. I think it's in my top like 8 of the MCU at the moment. Like I love it.
Oh
wow. But like I also understand it's like it's a hard movie to watch, like going into it. Like the opening of that movie is probably the saddest opening of any movie I've ever seen. Like very instantly it breaks you of like holy shit. And then the movie continues to do stuff that's like, okay, we're going there, we're doubling down on the story. But also I think it's so rewarding because it has one of my favorite villains in the MCU, and it has singularly I'd argue the best moment in the entire MCU, which I assume you've seen the scene, the like Oscar worthy scene from Angela Bassett where she acts her living heart out. Like she kills just the screen, and she's so good at that role. And various fight scenes and cameo and the things that they do there is like so good. Getting back to the Iron part of it though.
It's like kind of what is her role in that movie? Like I know she's in there. I know she plays a decent role.
She
set
plays a role.
The stage for me.
She plays a role like she. I will say, I feel like she maybe is one of the weaker parts of that movie, not because she's bad. I actually quite enjoy her in that movie, but she's definitely a little shoehorned in at times. Like she,
like a little out of place, maybe
out of place sometimes. And like someone brought it up on another stream I was in, and they said she was probably introduced to fill the spot that Chadwick's story was originally supposed to do. And once I heard that, I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay, interesting.
She's very fun in this movie. She's very cool, but she is one of the parts that's like, doesn't quite fit in with everything else that's going on and stuff like that. But she's very fun, and I feel like I don't know if you even necessarily need Wakanda forever. Like I feel like she's there, she's introduced, but I feel like the show will.
It does definitely look like it kind of stands on its own. It seems like they'll probably give us as many flashbacks as we need. Like I don't think that. Especially going with what they've said about the show and movie crossover going forward, is nothing is required viewing. Like you don't necessarily have to see the movies to understand the shows. You don't have to see the shows to understand the movies, which I think in a lot of ways is the best way to go about it. And maybe that's something that they can do for like the special presentations though, is maybe make some of those more important, more pertinent, and kind of say like, okay, this is almost like a direct to streaming movie rather than something that they're going to release in the theaters.
Yeah, and I am concerned with how they're putting this out. I don't know if you've seen all this stuff, but they're doing
what is it, a 3-episode drop
premiere. It's rumored the other 3 will be the following week, potentially be a 2-week drop, and
that's it. Okay, so they're giving it the Echo treatment, so they don't have much faith in the show, do they?
It's either they don't have faith or they just want this era out, because this is the last Marvel project under the Bob Chapek's era of Marvel. And Thunderbolt was a huge, return the form from them, a big, this is the new Bob Iger era of things. And I'm wondering if they're just it's part of the old, 6-episode Disney Plus event era, put it out, whatever, which sucks, because I think it looks incredible. I think these trailers have been really, really strong, really, really good. And it's what does that mean for the Young Avengers? It's Young Avengers is supposed to be one of the big things moving forward. Are they no longer doing that? I assume she was part of that group of characters you wanted in that team. Yeah. So...
And it's interesting, too, that this show still ended up coming out before Armor Wars. There's no Armor Wars ever. There's no Armor Wars ever.
There's no Armor Wars, and I think she was probably supposed to be part of that project.
Yeah.
She was probably co-lead to Rhodey in that movie.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate.
So in all honesty, is this show dead on arrival just because of how Marvel and Disney is putting it out there? They're just all right, let's just drop it all, get it done with.
That's my fear. Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for it to trend as a topic too, if they're just going to drop 3 episodes, drop the next 3, and just wipe their hands of it and say, all right, on to the next thing, and then they're going to start promoting what's the next big Marvel project after this.
Fantastic Four.
Okay, yeah, so that it's getting buried in between Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four.
Yeah, which sucks because obviously this is an Iron Man quote unquote title in the MCU.
Yeah.
The setup for Young Avengers. This, you have the Dean from Civil War and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Is this the only other MCU show this year after Born Again?
No, there's a couple. If you're counting animated too, or just the live action?
Just live action.
So there's also Wonder Man this year.
Oh, right. That's coming out towards the end of the year. But again, not like a massive connection to anything really. It's just kind of its own project.
And then Eyes of Wakanda, and Marvel Zombies as well.
Okay.
One of those is canon, one of those is not, of course.
Yeah. And then that second season of X-Men 97, that's not coming out till what, next year? Next year. Okay. Yeah, I've been very much so outside of Daredevil and stuff. I've been very outside of the MCU loop. Like I said, I've not been seeing a lot of the movies. I still haven't seen Captain America 4, haven't seen the Marvels, haven't seen Miss Marvel.
Oh wow.
So I can tell you the last two MCU movies, or no, last two MCU movies I saw, Guardians Volume 3
Peak.
and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then I again have not seen anything else in theaters since those.
Gotcha.
Which is, yeah, it just, I don't want to say like fallen. Yeah, sorry, Lance. I'm sorry. I don't want to say like fallen out of love with it, but it just like there was such an oversaturation at a point. And like again, is I didn't want the MCU to feel like homework or required reading, and I think that's kind of what they were pointing towards with a lot of the shows as well. And certain things I did really enjoy, like I really enjoyed Agatha. I'm so glad that I watched that. When you guys convinced me to.
Fun era, yeah.
And things like that. I think those are where really the MCU kind of shines right now. Is in those kind of underdog projects in a lot of ways that you don't necessarily think are going to be, big hits. I'll definitely see what I think about, Captain America 4 when that comes out on Disney Plus, because that's the other thing. Everything is dropping on Disney Plus in like 3 months. So there's almost no point in going out and actually seeing things. Which again shows that they don't have much faith in the projects, just like they're dropping 3 episodes at once. Like either drop it all as a binge or weekly episodes. I don't like that format.
I would prefer a binge over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Same thing with Andor. Again, they dropped 3 episodes a week for 4 weeks, and I felt so behind. Like it took me a while to get through those episodes.
I'm not sure if I'm even going to get caught up at this point.
Like I literally just finished the last arc like the day before, or I guess like yesterday, like right before the new stuff came out, and I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet. So
yeah, I agree with some of those statements. Some of those I don't quite agree with, but
okay.
I think moving forward we're heading into a good era. I think they're.
Oh, I do too.
I do too. Scaling back is smart. I think they've said only 2 new shows a year, 3 movies, and then some animated stuff. I think. That's
I like the course correction. And I really think the slate for the next few years seems very promising.
Yeah,
very promising.
Obadiah Stane's ancestor is also going to be in the show, which is going to be interesting.
Okay.
Which I had not heard that until today's trailer, and like everyone's like,
nice.
This is like Son. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, that's kind of random.
Cool.
I do want to move on since this is a shorter stream today. I want to get through some stuff. Do you quickly want to talk about Tales of the Underworld really quickly?
Yeah. I'll give my little brief thoughts on it. I think it's better than Tales of the Empire, not as good as Tales of the Jedi. I do still want Tales of the Sith. Of these 2 arcs, I think that the Cad Bane arc was the one that kind of drew my attention a lot more, which is funny because that was the one that I went into it. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this one as much as the Ventress arc. Not that the Ventress arc was bad by any means, but I think we've seen a lot of her story. But Cad Bane was somebody that we didn't know a ton about his backstory. Like he just kind of pops up in the Clone Wars, is a cool bounty hunter with a cowboy hat, and does his thing, meets his end in the Book of Boba Fett for one reason or another. But it was cool to kind of see that other side of him. And once again, I am blown away by the animation in these Tales little shorts. It's Clone Wars animation, but modernized, and it looks incredible. It looks absolutely stunning, and I hope that they continue to do these. I think the yearly like May 4th drop for a new Tales is great. I think again my 2 biggest pitches for the next ones are Tales of the Sith, and then like Tales of What If or something like that. You know what I mean? Is again give us just a couple of fun ones. Just what if Anakin never turned to the dark side, and then something else stupid like I don't know. What if Luke failed to blow up the Death Star?
Sure.
Like, I don't know, something like that. I think those would be very, very cool. But yeah, again, I think the animation is a side of Lucasfilm that has always been strong. I think
Yeah.
there have been very few bad animated projects, or like quote unquote bad animated projects. But yeah, I love these. I love these. Keep pumping them out, and I'm excited for the next one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't done any of those, but I've seen people talk about it and it looks cool.
Yeah.
Um, looks like
Again, I
something that
think
people have been enjoying.
you got to watch Clone Wars to appreciate them, though.
Yeah.
I think all of them have ties to the Clone Wars in one way or another. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're not caught up as far as Clone Wars and even some of Rebels go, you're not going to appreciate it as much. Like, I'm not going to say you're not going to enjoy it, but you're not going
Mm-hmm.
to understand some of the nitty gritty details, some of the minutia of it that you would otherwise with that background.
Sure. Yeah. I got to do Clone Wars eventually. I gotta commit. I gotta do it.
Yes,
Andor
do
also
it.
ended this week, which it's been very cool to see. I've heard just nothing but praise over these last like 6 episodes or so. Like I know I've like just like your opinion aside, because I feel like that's a different story.
Yeah.
I think the first half of the season, I saw a little mixed bag for a lot of people. Like it's good but pretty slow, and they're building to something. And I think like last week's episode, I've been hearing people say were like some of the best Star Wars ever, and for like a lot of people, like it, comparing it to like the original trilogy and stuff like that, I was like, oh wow, okay. And then seeing all the people cry last night over that finale I was like, okay, wow, well, that's incredibly high praise. And um, I'm not even sure if I'm going to get to it right now because like I'm so busy with trying to get caught up on a lot of stuff
Yeah.
right now. But like, it is cool seeing how positive it's been, and like everyone rewatching Rogue One
Mhm.
apparently today as well, because it's like, oh my gosh, how it ends leads into this very. I saw someone say up above it. It was a dumb decision not to put it back in theaters for this, and I'm like, yeah, they probably should have, because I've been seeing everyone
Mhm.
trying to watch it again. Like, that would have been smart marketing.
Yeah. Again, obviously, my opinions are very, very different than the
Have you finished it
majority,
or
but
no?
no, not yet. I haven't
No.
even
Okay.
like I said, I haven't even started this final arc. I've seen some people talk about it. I've seen certain things that kind of I could have predicted. As far as that goes, it'll be interesting to see how it ends. I do think that the back half of the season has been a lot more enjoyable than the first half. Again, not that I'm necessarily enjoying the show, but there are certain aspects, there are certain scenes, there are certain things that they do that I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I wish the show was more like this. But
Mm,
then they go ahead and do something else where they're like, sitting around talking for 15 minutes and I zone out and have literally multiple times fallen asleep in the middle of episodes. I
wow.
am that checked out and that zoned out. Like it'll take me multiple days to finish one episode. Um, Again, and I think too, I've kind of cracked the code on it. Right, it's not about the characters because I loved Rogue One. I think Cassian's a decent enough character in that movie. Krennic is great. I think K2SO is one of my favorite droids. But the way that the show is formulated and the way that it's paced out, it just is not. Again, I repeat the same thing that I've said, for the last 4 weeks now. This is just not how I would envision or enjoy a Star Wars show. Is again, I am somebody who is very much so traditional in the sense that I like the Force, Jedi, Sith, all of that kind of stuff. And when we are taking a step back from that to solely focus on, some not necessarily even just like underworld stuff, but just kind of these, ragtag group of characters that again don't necessarily have a big relation or a big tie to anything outside of Rogue One, right? Is obviously this is the start of the rebellion. This is how we get to the point where we steal the Death Star plans, how we set everything in motion. I understand that kind of butterfly effect of it, right? But I just don't feel like this show did a good enough job of getting me to care about this character or these other characters, because we know how it ends. You know, we know how the story ends. We know, you know, Andor gets blown up on Scarif, right? So I'm just sitting there waiting for that to happen, and it doesn't necessarily feel like a ton of this has stakes. Again, there are certain aspects, like I think Mon Mothma has been really good in this show as well. I absolutely hate the fact that Jimmy Smits is not back as Bail Organa. I think he could have just been a different character. I don't love that decision at all. But again, there's certain aspects that I like. I think the style of the show, the cinematography, the effects and everything like that are top notch. I want that to carry over. But the only reason why they are so top notch is because it cost the amount of 2 very expensive blockbuster films to make these 2 seasons of television. Sure. Which may or may not have been a very smart investment on Disney's side of things.
Yeah.
I think that budget could have definitely been better spent spreading it amongst other projects that didn't get as high of a budget as they should have. Things like Kenobi, things like the most recent Mandalorian season, even, you know, Ahsoka could have definitely dealt with, you know, some more budget. But a lot of that got fed into Andor, and the theory behind that is Andor is the one thing that Disney has that they created. Like, they created the character of Cassian Andor, and a lot of these are Disney original creation characters, not George Lucas legacy characters. So they want to push their, you know, push their original characters, which makes sense from a business perspective, makes sense from their perspective. But I think it's got to be done well. Like, I think, again, Skeleton Crew is a perfect example of original characters done well, characters that they made me care about. Again, Acolyte, as silly as it sounds for me to hate on Andor, but love Acolyte, I still really enjoyed that show. And I want more in the vein of Skeleton Crew and Acolyte and Ahsoka and Mandalorian going forward. And again, that's my piece. I will definitely, you know, say my final thoughts next week. I'm gonna, you know, trudge through the last 3 episodes, and you will definitely be getting a message from me the moment that I finish it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, to play devil's advocate as someone who hasn't started the new season, I'd argue it's working, like, in terms of, like, in their favor. Like, this is easily the most critical success I've seen from Star Wars in my lifetime.
A lot of talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, I'd argue this is what they need right now, in like, in a spew of, like, non-critical successes. I think a Star Wars show that's, like, quote unquote, like, cinema in terms of its writing and its producing, and, like, I know you're not a huge fan of it, and that's completely valid and completely fine, but also I'm like, I think having a continuous show like this, the like the quality of this going forward, can only help Star Wars, can only improve
100%
its success rate. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only thing is that I hope that they don't believe that they need to put $300 million into each season of a TV show for it to be successful.
100%. And again, like we talked about this previously, I don't think they meant to. I think a big part of this was COVID. Like, they were stuck filming this in COVID. They had to stop filming. You have some pretty big actors in here that you had to supply during COVID because of shooting and stuff like that. But, like, to be honest, though, like in your defense, also, it's like a lot of these shows were having those massively huge budgets in this era, and like, it was not only not necessary, but also just, like, unbelievably stupid and silly. And, like, I feel like I think that's 100% a Bob Chapek thing of, like, oh, we'll put all this money into streaming and we'll get all this money back from streaming, and then it's Bob Iger being like, fuck no, like, put Moana 2 in theaters, put Lilo and Stitch in theaters, make Mandalorian a TV show or a movie. Like, it's all these changes come back in. It's like, you're spending money in literally the worst place possible. Fix this shit now. So, which, like, does open, like, a good question, like, what's next for Star Wars in television? Like, we're seeing the effects in the movies. But what are the effects? I mean, I'm sorry, we're seeing that with Marvel, but, like, what's that effect in Star Wars?
Well, I mean, the next big live action Star Wars show coming out is Ahsoka Season 2 next year. They're currently filming it now. I would assume we get a trailer by the end of the year, probably fall, like September, October, November time.
Is that
I would
before the
say
Mando movie?
it's I don't know if it comes out before the Mandalorian movie. So Mandalorian and Grogu comes out May of next year,
Yeah.
right? If they go with the same release that the first season of Ahsoka did, I think that was like a March April release, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was even like December into early January. But
It was spring. I'm pretty positive. It was
I would say
release.
probably spring. So maybe we could get a like a March April 2026 release for Ahsoka, and then have it end like right before Mando
I can tell you
and Grogu
exactly
comes out.
when it was. It was August because we had that trailer right before you left. The pipeline the first time.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
So I think it was like August of 2023.
Oh.
So we got it. August.
Wow. Okay. Then yeah.
September.
No, you're right. Then that would make sense. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm curious. I still haven't finished Ahsoka. I watched the first 5. I didn't finish the final episode.
Again, just watch Clone Wars first. Watch Clone Wars and Rebels first, and then come back to it. All right, you got some time. You got some time.
Sure. I always say that, but do you want to talk about some Last of Us? To kind of,
yes, sir. Let's
to wrap up this shorter episode. This more kind of all over the place episode.
Yeah. Does feel like a classic pipeline though.
Yeah, we're kind of like, oh, here. All right.
We got all the topics.
Last of Us, episode 5. We're in the back half of the season now. I spent some of my week trying to get caught up, and I feel like I'm
playing the game.
Like the game. Like I am in a very weird spot because the show is jumping around quite a bit in terms of like they're not going chronologically necessarily. They're nitpicking.
Yeah.
So I am both ahead and behind of the game right now.
Right.
Where I'm playing right now stuff we're seeing next week, and I'm also behind on like some of the stuff that we're seeing now. Like I just started day 2, but I've seen some of the stuff from stuff we haven't seen in the show yet. So that's been very interesting. And now also trying to keep both straight now is kind of getting
right.
It's
like what's going on in one versus the other.
Like I was like, wait, I'm talking about this. Is that happened in the game or that happened in the show? Because it is such a good adaptation. It's like, wait, which one was which? But I'm gonna let you mainly lead this just in case I do say something I don't mean to. But like, what did you think of episode 5, the 5th episode?
Well, okay, I'll give my thoughts and then you tell me what the controversy is, because I'm not sure what the controversy is. I think that the beginning of this episode was kind of more the same. It felt very much so like just a carry on from last week. But that back half of the episode went crazy, and I really liked it. I really liked that back half of the episode. I was not expecting Jesse to be the one that saved them. I wanted it to be Tommy. I wanted it to be the Seattle Reaper or whatever the heck they call him. But that was a very cool scene. But also I think very dumb of Ellie and Dina to think that they could just take on all these stalkers. It reminds me, have you seen, somebody posted a clip on TikTok, Twitter, probably all over the place, of going into a building with a bunch of stalkers in Last of Us 2, and they saw where the stalker was. They reload the checkpoint, go put 10,000 bombs on the floor, then go reactivate them to go by, so they run by and then just get caught in the trap and blow them all up. And that's kind of what that's what they needed to do if they wanted to get out of this unscathed.
Right.
But yeah, once again though, Ellie thinking that she is hold on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Once again, Ellie thinking that she is just because she's immune. A little ridiculous.
Do you mean at the end where she's go hide in the cage and I'm gonna take them on? I think that, did you see the behind the scenes part of this episode?
No, I didn't.
So their take on the episode was a bit differently than I thought, because I didn't read it like that at first, but they were saying she was planning on dying there. Like in that scene, she's you hide in the cage. She was planning on you escape while I take these guys on, and I will kind of like
Which
kill myself.
doesn't make sense because being in that cage is honestly almost worse than being out in the open because you're in a confined space that the infected can very easily break through.
Sure.
And also, too, my biggest issue, Jesse's been in Seattle for all of what, probably 5 minutes, and he's got himself an automatic rifle. Yet Ellie and Dina just have pistols that run out of ammo very quickly. Please get better at looting. Just please actually loot the weapons. Take the weapons from your enemies. Craft better weapons. Craft some ammo. Like that's all I want. That's all I want is for them to actually like pretend it's a real apocalypse for once. Also, where's the horse, dude? Did they leave Shimmer in the record store, never to be reclaimed ever again?
I don't know if I should. There's game stuff where I'm like, I don't know if I should mention.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that it went that deep. I thought that this was just a joke that everybody's
like,
game where'd the horse go?
Care about?
I really don't mind like at all.
Shimmer's supposed to be dead right now.
Oh, wonderful.
Last week was the moment where Shimmer gets like shot in the leg and falls over, and they have to like so the fact that they're alive, people are like, what are we doing with Shimmer? Why is Shimmer still alive?
Just like chilling. Like, is there enough food? Like, is Shimmer okay? Did Shimmer swap sides, working with the enemy now? I don't know what's happening.
I'm afraid to mention that because I don't want him to die them to die next week. I'm like, well, I spoiled it for Talos. Holy shit.
But well, maybe it's like Geralt's horse, like Roach, right? Is like every horse he has is named Roach. Like he's had tons of horses named Roach. Like he just calls them all Roach. So maybe that's what we're going for here.
Yeah. Maybe.
But we had the big climactic piece at the I guess before we get to that, the kind of coming to a head a little bit with the scars. They're a little bit more dangerous than we thought.
Yeah.
Just firing a stray arrow. And then that kind of put Ellie into like beast mode and is like, all right, get out of here. I got this. And I definitely do like the look that she gave where she turned back around and she was like, I could take you guys on, but I've got a mission to go on.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting, and it kind of gave you a little bit of a teaser as to what to expect from her a little bit later on. Early on in the episode, we got the big reveal that something from the games actually does carry over, which is interesting because if I specifically remember the creators last season saying they weren't doing the spores because it was tough to visualize on screen.
Yes.
But lo and behold, they did a immaculate job of presenting the spores on screen, and I think they looked great. So it's good. In the air.
I completely forgot they weren't in season 1. So when I saw people freaking out about spores, I was like, why? Like, there's a common thing at this point. It's like, oh no, it's
not in the show.
In the show, it's this big reveal. It's this big thing, and I think that's smart to use it as a point of like evolution for this infected, if you will, this evolution of this world. And I think 100%. The season's done a very good job at showing the evolution of like the dangers in this world in such a good way.
We've gotten stalkers this season and spores. Like I think that's great.
Like everything with the stalkers, I think especially this week has been so good, and how they've just built up those stakes because like we see this in The Walking Dead a lot. It's like there's only so many times you can fight zombies and make it fun and make it interesting. And I think with this being a shorter show in terms of episode lengths, you can kind of build upon these threat levels. And it's like, okay, we've already fought these stalkers. Why is it so hard this time? And it's like, well, now there's 11 of them. And, we have someone with us that's not immune. And
they're just taunting them, too.
Yeah.
Like, I really like that. And, okay, so that's the other big part of it that I really liked this season is they amped the horror aspect up quite a bit. Like, the stalkers are actually scary. Like, they're actually kind of making it very much so in the vein of a horror movie. And I really noticed that, too, in episode 1, I guess, when they first encountered the stalkers, and then again the week before last when they were down in the subway tunnels. I think that was again kind of some horror undertones. Like it's almost like Sam Raimi's working on this season or something. But I love it. I really do. And I'm not necessarily again a big horror fan or anything like that, but I think kind of changing up the genre a little bit. I think, you know, the game can get somewhat scary in certain points, but for the most part it's kind of a, you know, action adventure looter shooter sort of game. Not looter shooter, but like crafting survivalist game.
I think part 2 is a lot scarier than part 1 for sure.
Okay.
Like
okay.
there's a
so
lot
that makes sense.
A lot more jump scares. I think there's a lot more like maybe it's just this time around. Like I didn't find that scary the first time I was kind of going through, and this time there's so many like holy shit.
There's just some jump scares. Yeah.
So much of these like very dark sequences where like you can barely see, and then those like a freaking bloater will come up and he's like, holy shit, get the fuck out of here, go away. And like I think that's such a good way to tell this story, because I think just like subconsciously season 1 there feels like there's a safety for Ellie because she has Joel. Joel is like that protector in her life. There's that safety net there, and now Joel is gone. And the world is scarier for her because she is the head of this pack. She's leading this crusade, and things are going to be scary. And the world is evolving. The world is getting. I love that take. That is really, really cool. I think. Yeah. I think they're doing a really, really good job about that. I know a lot of people weren't liking this episode as much because this episode definitely does a lot of like it. Like we are. You know, doing something differently from the games. There are some changes to be had, and I'll say, like, going back to the last episode a little bit, like I reached the point in the game where she reveals, where like that reveal happens, where like she tells her she's infected, she tells her pregnant.
Yep.
And on that side of it, I prefer the show version of that specific scene a lot. I think I think they do it a lot more cinematically. It feels like a much bigger deal. On the flip side of that, though, I'm still
on the flip side with Darren.
Oh. On the flip side of that, though, I'm not sure I'm in love with the Ellie switch up with Dina being pregnant. I'm still not completely convinced because I'm playing the game and I almost thought about like sending you like a clip of the scene because it is so
I've seen it. It's very drastically different, but in a lot of ways. So I feel the same way. I kind of loved the switch up that we got at the end of this episode. We'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
But if Ellie was acting more like she did at the end of the episode throughout the whole season, it would have made more sense for her to react like she did in the game. However, from how Ellie has been presented throughout the season so far, still being very silly, kind of childish in a way, it made more sense in the fact that they presented it like they did.
Sure.
Maybe we'll get some sort of take a little bit later on in the season that gives us more so that game take on it, where she's like, okay, no, you need to get out of here. You are...
Yeah.
What did she say? You're a liability, right? Is that the line?
Yeah.
And I think the Ellie that we saw that was kind of stone cold at the end of this episode might have said that same thing in the show. But again, that's an interesting swap for me too, right? So she goes down, she goes after Nora, which is very fun to see a character or an actress from you. Let's get our you representation.
She's a fantastic actress. She's in so many good shows. I knew her back from The 100, back when that show was on the CW and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was also in Sabrina.
She was in what's that Tom Holland movie? I'm blanking on it. The one with like action movie with the car. I forget it was called.
What was it? Cherry or something, right?
No, it's based on a video game.
You're talking about Uncharted.
Uncharted, thank you.
It's based on a video game. A little known game, Uncharted.
Yeah, just a
that
little.
That one.
Yeah, it's like
That one.
yeah.
Just, Nathan Drake, kind of a PlayStation mascot.
Yeah, just a little silly one.
Yeah.
But no, she was great, and some of like that scene was basically ripped right from the game. Like that whole sequence with Nora, like some of the lines came straight from it. And I think Bella Ramsey is very interesting because she gives her own take on the character. She sounds very differently from the game version of that character, but there are some lines that she gave here that sounded exactly like the game character.
Yeah,
like straight from it. Where I was like, was that her? Was that?
Yeah, it's like there's kind of glimmers of like, okay, like again, like I think the biggest thing for like the diehard game fans has been they weren't necessarily convinced that this was the Ellie from the second game, because again, like in the second game, like she is on a tear, she is on a rampage, she can hold her own. Again, because of the mechanics and stuff like that, she seems almost more deadly than Joel in a lot of ways, just because of how she can move and be a little bit more stealthy and things like that. But I really do think that this adds a very interesting layer, and something that I have seen as well is that they changed one little thing here in the fact that when it is revealed what Joel did and why Abby killed him, she's like, I know.
Yeah.
And for me, as somebody just watching the show, I was like, well, obviously she knew. Like, I thought that was fairly obvious that she knew, and that's why they were kind of beefing at the beginning of the season, is Joel had kept that from her for such a long time. Eventually, he cracked and told her, most likely because of a result of the therapy that he was going through. Ellie got upset, even though I think deep down she always knew what he did and why he did it. I don't think he or she was upset with Joel because of what he did. I think it was just more so she was upset with him because he lied and kept it from her.
And she took away her choice of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, again, in a lot of ways, I think maybe she sympathizes with what he did and why he did it and agrees with him, and maybe given the same choice would have made the same decision. And it seems like currently she is in that mindset where she would make that same decision. Like, think about it if, like, Dina was strapped to that hospital bed.
She would, yeah.
Ellie would have killed 1 million Abby's fathers to get to her, So I don't think that it's the crime, so to speak, that is the burdening part, but it's just the fact that Joel and Ellie were so close and he lied to her for so long. For what was that time jump, like 5 years?
Yeah.
Or something. But it seems like we're going to get maybe the story of that in the flashbacks. Maybe this revelation happened much earlier than, right before this, or, in the midst of the season. But it's going to definitely be very interesting to see play out. But yeah, I mean, welcome back, Pedro Pascal. I think everybody was, very excited to see that. And I love the memes of everybody saying, oh, all right, guys, the whole season was just a bad dream. Now we're back to normal. So.
Yeah. And it seems like, have you seen the promo for next week?
Yes.
It seems like next week is going to be entirely flashback. It seems like what they've done is
This is our Bill and Frank episode.
This is our Bill and Frank, and they have compiled all the flashbacks from this portion of the game, and they put it all in one, because in the game it's like a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here.
But now they're just like,
it's one long episode of all the flashbacks, and I think that's a brilliant decision. I think that's so good. You're right. It is our Bill and Frank episode, which is not only one of my favorite episode.
I still think it's the best episode of the show.
Best episode show. Still my favorite. One of my favorite episodes of all time. I think that episode's a masterpiece. Yeah. And I just got done today playing some flashback stuff, and oh boy, oh boy, I am so excited to see people's thoughts. I think people are going to have it rough next week. I'm super excited to see.
Something that I'm going to be very interested to see if they put in there. Did you see, I sent you a clip of, I guess it was Druckmann talking about a cut level from the game.
I saw something about that. I wasn't sure what
Yeah,
that was
so it
though.
was like basically like you were going around playing carnival games like at the the Christmas festival pretty much, and that was supposed to be close to the end of the game apparently. But they cut it because it was too like momentum stopping. So I wonder if there's gonna be aspects of some of these cut levels
Sure.
thrown into the show in certain points, because it does definitely seem like they're reformulating the show in a lot of ways, and kind of changing certain things that either they didn't think landed quite as well in the second game, or maybe that fans weren't quite as happy with, or what they thought fans weren't quite as happy with, I guess is the way to put it. It definitely does seem like the first game played a lot, or the first season played a lot more beat for beat from the game itself, but season 2 is taking a lot more liberties with not only the story that they're telling it, but the order in which they're telling that story and how that story is being told. But I do still think, once again, this certainly proves that next season is all Abby. I think we're getting that, shown to us every single episode. That is crazy to think that she was there for one episode. Well, an episode in the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah. I'm so curious.
It's going to be interesting.
Going to be so. It is
man.
so ballsy.
Yeah.
It is so risky. I would not have made that decision.
Not only is there no Joel, there is no Ellie, there is nothing that we know.
I don't know how that's going to go down, because there's already like controversies with this season from casual fans, and I want to talk about that in a minute here. But like, if it is fully Abby and her story, holy shit, that is going to be a. I love it, because I think it, like what Last of Us Part 2 does best is it does challenge your audience. It does challenge them to think differently, and I like that we're going to be able to do that. But whew, it's a risk, and I'm excited to see how they go about it.
And if they pull it off, it could potentially be one of the best things that has been done on TV. Like, I think again, just having the guts to completely shift the status quo of your show like that, and then have to eventually find your way back to that status quo, it's going to be very interesting. And next week's penultimate episode, isn't it? So yeah, I still feel like, okay, from what I understand in the game, right, is so your job as Ellie is to hunt down all of the different wolves that were there the day that Joel died. Right now, Ellie has only killed one of them, and we're getting a full flashback episode next week. So do we kill like 4 people in the finale? Does Ellie just like pick everybody off one by one by one?
Because they're definitely jumping. This is one of the kind of controversies I've seen. It's like they're doing all the major stuff, but they're doing it so quickly that some of it doesn't sit as well as it probably could have in the show. And I think that's interesting, because I think the show has made these scenes more impactful. I think they've spent more time on the things itself, but the journey getting there sometimes just jump very highly. We are now, it seems like it's an episode is a day, right? So
I was going to say is each day is one episode.
This was day 2. Next week will be the
finale.
Backlash, and then it's the finale.
The finale is day
3.
And that's it. It's 3 days per character.
Yeah. From my understanding, unless they shift some things around, and again, I'll have to finish my playthrough. I'm hoping to do so before the finale, but
which is interesting too, because if I remember correctly, right? So the game, she is up and out the next day to go to Seattle after Joel's death, right?
Yeah.
So this game takes place over the span of maybe a month, if that, because think about travel time. From Jackson to Seattle. Well, no, is 3 days in Seattle, right? But not necessarily including travel time to Seattle, is what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take long getting there in the game.
No.
Kind of just
You kind of just there.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, let's say a week. at most, right? Is what the game is taking place over. Yet this show has spread it already. We time jumped what 3 months, and then now it's the the few days, but still it's still in a fairly condensed time period.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
all things considered.
Yeah, they've been jumping around a lot, and like, I can understand some frustrations there. Like, I would say that's a little nitpick for me. I've seen from people who haven't, like, again, who haven't loved the changes with Ellie, with that whole thing we talked about earlier, which I can get. I know for some people it's been a very, very soapy this season. It's been very, like, people have been calling it very teen drama, and like,
yeah, there's some CW in there.
There is, but like, play devil's advocate, the game is as well. Like, that's kind of the, like, at least that first half of the game especially, it's very drama filled. I personally like that stuff. Was this episode over the top to you though? Because I would say in some aspects it was kind of, but I also think that was probably the point. Like, Ellie and Dina are in their honeymoon phase, which I feel like they never go this far in the game in terms of that relationship, because they've shifted the dynamics around with Ellie. Like, she's at this point in the game pissed. She's like, fuck, this shit sucks. And now it's like, I love you, and it's like, okay, this is definitely different.
It is interesting. Yeah, it was a little goofy at times, I feel like, and I think not necessarily even just their interactions. I think, like I said, I think the thing that stuck out the most to me was when they were hiding in the woods and then that random arrow just comes out of nowhere, right? It's like, I think there were some interesting choices to get to where we needed to be. It did seem like, in a lot of ways, it was a little less serious until that end point of it, right? But maybe that was to kind of give us a little bit of levity. Like, there were some serious moments. They did have some serious conversations. But you're right. It was more so like, oh, haha, like, we're together now. Like, it's fun times. Let's go, kill a bunch of zombies together, and,
Yeah.
But then when stuff hit the fan and they had to actually, like, lock in, then it was, all right, back to, okay, we're in the apocalypse. Like, we got to keep moving.
And to, like, play devil's advocate to my own point, because it's like, yes, it's very lovey-dovey, it's very goofy, they're in their honeymoon phase, but also a part of it, I think, is also maybe the point, and we see that at the end of the episode, is that she's kind of been burying those feelings deep down.
Yes.
I think she's on this revenge quest, but I don't think she realizes it's revenge yet.
It's a revenge
just like,
quest, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, where's it going on, this little adventure, and once it's done, we can have this happy ending. And I think something broke inside of her when she officially met Nora, when she officially met someone where she has association with her, and I think something clicked in her.
Something
and it was like,
snapped. Something inside of me.
She went from, in this game, game one, or like season 1 Ellie, to game 1 Ellie, like all this season, to now she is game 2 Ellie, in my opinion. Like that, it was like, oh, that's the character people have been asking for all season. Not me, because I've liked this, but like this is what people have been wanting in terms of like the, like, very hardened badass.
Yeah.
And I'm after the flashbacks, I'm wondering, what is finale Ellie going to look like? What is that like? How is that change going to shift? Jesse's here now, and Tommy's going to be kind of entering into the fray as well.
Yeah,
like,
I'm excited to see Tommy again.
Yeah.
I also, right after I finished this episode, I texted my brother and I was like, hey, like, let me know when you've seen this episode. I think you're gonna like this one. And he told me that he was going to wait to watch this episode and the next episode back to back, which I think is going to be a very interesting way to see it. And again, like I said, he has had his gripes. He's, like I said, he's had his gripes as somebody who is a very much so avid on the game side of things. He has not liked some of the liberties that this season has taken. But like I said, I will be very interested to see his opinion on the tonal shift that they took with Ellie at the end of this episode. And I will report back once the Last of Us master has spoken.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I like this episode. It was probably my least favorite, just, you know, in total, not because I disliked it, just because I had these little tiny nitpicks here and there of like, some of these little tiny things didn't work as well for me, but I've been adoring the season. I think it's probably my second favorite show of the year so far, unless these final two really drop the ball. Up next to Severance, I think it's still the king of 2025 for me. Anything that we haven't talked about that you want to bring up? I feel like we
no, I think we pretty much covered everything. I guess my only question for you, right, is do we get more of the story with what's his name's character, Jeffrey Wright's character, on this side of the story, or is that going to be Abby's part 2, or I guess season 3 story?
We should get more Isaac in this part, I would assume, but also my memory of Isaac, like I said last week, I don't really remember Isaac that much.
Yeah.
Although I think the more we're getting into it, the more things are starting to unlock, like everything with like the scars, right? Like their side of it. This episode was like
they're
impactful,
fairly interesting. Yeah,
so brutal. Like the hanging this week, it's like their guts are like rushing out of their body.
I completely even forgot about that.
Holy shit.
It's like, and we thought Kingpin like smashing a guy's head was a little intense. Like that's you know, it just adds.
Like they're like I said a couple weeks ago when like they were first introduced, I didn't remember them. And then they whistled this week, and so much rushed back to me, like their whistle noise.
Oh, that's like an iconic game thing.
Yeah, like they do their like whistles. You had like the dogs to come through and stuff like that. It's like, holy shit! Like it just came, so much came back. Like, oh my gosh, I remember being afraid of those whistles as I'm trying to dodge them and go around and stuff like that. But yeah, no,
that's awesome.
I'm curious how they wrap it up. I'm curious what they do. We're going to get out of here just because Wednesdays isn't our normal day. I don't want to overpass our other friends that stream on Wednesday. We didn't talk about Doctor Who this week. Naruto mentioned it. I was like, I didn't have a lot to say on this week's episode, even though it was very good. I'll wait till Garth is back next week. If he's back next week, I'll just talk about it solo as well. It's totally fine as well. Taz, this was a blast. Like always,
yes, it was.
We'll find you. What you working
YouTube.com/ToxicTaz. I think the video for, if there is one this week, it will possibly be just another segment. You know, maybe pull the beginning part where we're talking about Superman and everything like that. But the next big project will definitely be that full Andor review. But I doubt I'll finish it in time for it to be up this weekend. So that's maybe a next weekend kind of thing. But yeah. And new video is up. It's just our segment from the you portion last stream, but with just some extra added B-roll, some different camera angles, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. No, go check out that video. Like that was, I think, among one of my favorite discussions I think we've done.
Me too. Me too.
It was like, I felt like we really got lost in it, and we just like we talked for an hour and a half about you. Holy shit.
I was so surprised. Like I said, is like I plopped it in my editing software. We talked for an hour and 40 minutes on you, and then I was only able to chop out like maybe 20 minutes worth of discussion. So it's an hour and 20-minute video. Go put it on in the background when you're making dinner, or playing a video game, or in the background at work when you don't want to be paying attention, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Great discussion. Stuff on my side. Pipeline, tomorrow we are going to be doing a deep dive of the Bob Chapek's era of Marvel over doing a little bit of our like yearly retrospective on the current state of the MCU, what went wrong, what went right of that era, what's happening next, what is Bob Iger and all those guys kind of cooking up over in the next couple of years of Marvel. Good friend Ronan and Jake will be there chatting with us as always. Not as always, but this week. Next week, obviously after the credits, should be more of the same. More Doctor Who, more Last of Us. I assume a little bit of Andor rant from Taz and whoever else.
Watch
there.
out! Watch out!
Check out Second Channel. Also, after the credits with Darren. Sorry, that's not it. Darren on the flip side with Darren. I'm so sorry. we're no longer covering The Last of Us for just few reasons. But I'm cooking up something Taz might enjoy, and we just did our trailer reactions to Superman today and Ironheart today as well. So go check out those stuff. Nice. And without further ado, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Bye bye.